Earlier today, I was sitting in class, just completely zoned out at a wall, as I tend to be. Just sitting there thinking, contemplating about, different ideas, different subjects, just trying to figure out myself a little bit, trying to do some exploration into the world, into my own mind, which is how I spend most of my class time. Because, as I'm sure all of you who go to public school know, it's a joke. All the work is incredibly easy and it's a waste of time. And the only stuff that's difficult is when teachers make it difficult for no good apparent reason. But for a second, I kind of snapped out of my zoned out state and I just felt really in touch with the world for a second. And it caused me to look around at the people around me, at my peers, and just try to take in what they were observing for a second. Try to get into their minds, try to figure them out. And then I was looking around and I was just like kind of observing what they were all up to. And this was like a break in class. It was the very end. Teacher's done talking. Everybody is just sitting completely face planted into their phone. Every single person. I believe there was one girl who was reading a book. Every other person though was completely sucked into this virtual reality. And it got me thinking, how did we get to this point? How have we gotten to the point where it's not like these people don't like each other? There's plenty of friend groups and such in the classes. Of course there are. It's a high school. So these people, they enjoy being around each other. These are people who feel connections to one another. But instead of actually having human interactions, they prefer to try to escape their life, dive into this virtual world, and just scroll mindlessly or watch videos, do all these things that are just numb. They're numbing. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm better than this. I do my fair share of just like zoning out into the virtual world as a form of escapism. I think we all have a little bit a little bit of that in us. And I think we have to ask ourselves, why is it this way? Why do we get sucked into this alternate reality of such? Why do we want to escape our world so badly? And then after a little bit of self-reflecting, I've realized that we are a generation. We are a generation without any purpose, without any meaning. Our connections to each other don't feel real. What we're taught, what we're learning doesn't feel important. Nothing really feels like it matters. Anything could happen at any point and we're just so numb to it. We've just been exposed to limitless information. We have the world at our fingertips. Everything has just been pushed down our heads from the beginning. We've been pumped full of propaganda since, like, for some of us before the age of 10. In this Zoomer group, some of us, we grew up in this technological revolution, really. And it's a complete overhaul of the way that reality functions today. 20 years ago, it would be unheard of every single kid, being on their cell phone 24/7. Like this technology was brand new then, and it wasn't nearly as advanced as it is today. But we've been raised on this. It's been around since about elementary school age, and then what I'd argue are some of the more unlucky kids. They are put on it immediately, and now this is their life. This is the technological world feels more real to us than real life. We don't know how to have like normal interactions with one another the same way that we used to. I don't I don't have very many deep conversations with people anymore, I've noticed. And it gets worse every single year. It gets worse the more I'm around people and the more we dive into this technological age. It's going downhill and it's going downhill fast. I know one person that me and him still have a lot of good conversations with one another. We still talk, we still, do something that's deep with one each another. But everybody else, it's hard to feel connected to them because, they're sucked into these literal black mirrors. If you don't know, the black mirror is like an occultist thing that was used to talk to spirits, talk to demons, to communicate, to summon. And now we're a generation that is all hooked on it. We're all 24/7 just staring into these little mirrors, and it's pulling your soul out. I fully believe this at this point. These these mirrors are just pulling our souls out from our body. It's taking away what makes us human. It's taking away what makes us us. It's turning us all into a bunch of just the same person. Like the unique identity of each and everybody I know, it's slowly fading away. Most people, it feels like I'm talking to carbon copies sometimes. And it just hurts to see. Like, I don't, my hope for the future just goes down significantly the more I pay attention. And I think that's another reason why there's so much numbing going on. I don't think our generation has hope anymore. I think that's been lost. There was a point where I think a lot of our generation, we were excited. We thought, hey, that we're taking over the world. This is our future. We own it. We're excited. We're excited to be the next leaders, the next generation. We had hopes, we had dreams to make change. And the more things change around us, the current political sphere, the way that the future is turning out, I don't think there's much hope anymore. The people who once kind of avoided all this technology stuff, they really were focusing on themselves. I think it's getting us one by one. And I say this because it's affected me in the same way. About 2 weeks ago, I re-downloaded Snapchat, and I guess it was like maybe a week ago, right? Because I was just feeling lonely. I decided I wanted to fit in. I wanted to just like numb myself like everybody else because it's hard to take sometimes. It's hard to try to be positive about the future. It's hard to think that, oh, I can make a change when you can't relate to anybody else. You don't understand what their life is truly like because you're not in the same world as them. You're like I feel at times like I'm living a different reality than a lot of these people. Like I'm seeing things that nobody else does. And I think that the majority of you can relate to that. That's why you're watching this video right now because you relate to that. You look around and you say, I can't relate to these people. I don't understand why they're doing what they do. And like I have a loose understanding of it because I can dive into my own thoughts and I can take predictions on the actions they're gonna take. I can generally predict people. I'm pretty solid at that. I have a decent understanding and comprehension of the way people behave and why they behave the way they do. And these people, it's getting harder to relate to them because I've been so absent from the world they grew up in and for so long. I've just been so distracted with other things. And the more I see it, the more my hope fades away because I don't think our generation has what it takes anymore. I the studies show that we are the most depressed generation. They show that we're the most anxious generation. We have the most social anxiety. And even I can relate to some of those things. Like some of that depression, it's because we're hopeless. It's because see everything going on and we're hopeless. And that's another reason why things like even vapes are so prevalent in our generation. We're so hopeless and so purposeless. We suffer from so much purposelessness. I think that makes sense. That it's easier just to numb it. So yeah, like I was saying before, I downloaded Snapchat for like 2 weeks because I was trying to get back. I wanted to be a part of the club. I wanted to understand. Honestly, I wanted to numb myself. I wanted to kind of escape this reality I've created for myself on the internet. Obviously, I have a little bit of a persona on here. And I guess you guys probably don't know that this is a new channel. We're starting over. For those of you that came over from the old MK Ultra Conservative channel, welcome. Of course, we are pretty hated by YouTube, so that's why we restarted. The shadow banning, I couldn't take it anymore. My every single video I'd post would go up to like 50 views, and then it would start going down as soon as it hit 40 to 50. The view count would decrease. So, yeah, I was severely shadow banned, so I needed to just restart. I needed a reset. But yeah, so we came back over here, and where was I going with this? Let's see. So, apologies, I'm doing this unscripted right now. So, yeah, I downloaded Snapchat. I felt numb. Hopelessness was kicking in. I wanted to numb myself. I wanted to be a part of the club. A lot of people that know me know about the old channel. Yeah, that's where I was at. A lot of people that know me knew about the old channel, and it made it a little bit hard sometimes, right? Because I say some wild stuff because it's the internet. But I also like I'm a lot more involved than a lot of people, so I understand a lot of things that they don't. So when they hear me talk, they go into complete shock, like they can't understand it. And that made it harder to connect with people and relate. And it's not like I'm like, let's see, I'm not completely atomized, right? I know a lot of you, I maybe not you specifically listening to the video, but a lot of guys out there, especially those that suffer from chronic onlineness, they have no friends, they're complete social outcasts, and I wouldn't say that describes me at all. But there are a lot of people that really don't like me. There are a lot of people that like me, but a lot of people that don't. I've made this kind of category for myself where either you hate me or you love me, and I think that rings pretty true. It's probably like 60-40. 60% of people hate me, 40% love me. The boys love me. That sounds gay, but in a non-gay way. Me and the boys, we're tight. Most of them, except for the gay ones. We don't hang out with the gay. The fags hate me. But the fags and a lot of the women, they don't. They ain't big fans of me. But yeah, the guys that kind of understand, that kind of get it, they love me. They get it. They understand where I'm coming from. They understand where the atomization comes from. But the others not so much. But yeah, I wanted to feel more connected to my generation. So I download Snapchat, try to get a touch for the experience that everyone else has, and I kind of understand more now because the dopamine is insane. The hits I was getting, right? Because you know you can just quick add. I quick added like a crap ton of chicks, right? We're talking, we're flirting with them, and then got some things set up, and then kind of moved on from that, and I had this moment of clarity where I realized every girl I was talking to on there was a massive whore, and that kind of hurt my hope for the future for one, and I almost fell trapped to it because it's so easy, it's so tempting to just go for it and just to have some fun. And I pretty much had this thought process: I'm 16 now, I have 2 years left of childhood, I want to enjoy it. But honestly, it was just making me more stressed out thinking about it, and then this moment of clarity hit, and I was like, "This isn't me. This isn't me at all. This is me trying to be like everybody else." So I deleted that. In this moment of clarity, I got off of it again after a whole 2 weeks. But now I understand, that dopamine hit. It feels good. It feels good to be numb. It feels good to escape from all this honestly like borderline trauma that our generation has gone through. The whole COVID pandemic itself was a form of trauma. Like it took us all out of the world. It forced us out. And now you see the effects of that. We have a generation that has serious social problems, doesn't know how to connect with one another, doesn't know how to read each other, and doesn't it's hard to connect with people because of this, because we're all so atomized, and it's tough. It's really tough. And yeah, these phones, man, everyone's seriously addicted. And this is where I started the story at. I apologize for my rants. I appreciate those of you who stick around. Obviously, again, those of you from the old channel, from good old MK Ultra Conservative, you know about these rants. I go on for a bit, but I try to give when I go on these rants, I'm trying to give you guys valuable information, and I'm trying to get my say what I'm thinking. I'm trying to express that into the world because I think I have some valuable thoughts. But again, we're going on another little bit of a rant here, so I'm gonna shut that down. But yeah, everybody in this classroom, again, back to this story, back to earlier today in school. Everyone's face is stuck into these black mirrors, stuck into these occultist symbols, and they're just scrolling mindlessly because they want to escape, because of how depressed they are, because of how empty they feel. And even the ones that got into a group with their friends, like there was one group of them, and they're all like stuck into their phones just near each other. Like they had the comfort of one another while not actually communicating with one another. And my group, I'd like to say we're better than that, but oftentimes we're not. And It's hard to keep a group at school for me because I can't do that. I can't connect with somebody like that. I can't respect people who do that. It makes me hard it makes it hard for me to even respect those I'm around. You know, I there's like some people that I don't mind, but most people, I'm not a fan of most people anymore, especially of my generation. And I think most of you understand that sentiment. It's unfortunate because it's a rare sentiment today. And, I have one really good friend, and me and him, we both get it, I think, and we both have expressed these same opinions to one another. But the majority, I don't think they get it. And the majority would rather just like have a good time than try to save the country, I guess, which is understandable. That's expected from the majority, but it makes it hard to connect. It makes it hard to relate. And it kills your hope a little bit because as long as we still have all these dopamine escapes, our generation we can't actually make a change. We can't save this place. We can't do much. And of course, that's why I am the way I am. I know. Those of you in the Discord server, go join that, by the way. I'm sure you know my aspirations to become emperor of this place one day. And that's because, I don't have the confidence in anyone else around me to actually save this place. And I'm to the point where it's like, it's either going to be me or it's going to be nobody. Like, I have to be the one to save everything or nobody will. And I know that's not entirely true. I know there's others of you that are similar to me, have a similar mindset as me out there. Just I don't find it in real life, and it makes it hard to believe it even exists at this point. I don't I don't understand how how anybody can think like me because I don't know people that think like me, but I know you're out there. I know you're out there. I can watch a little bit of Nick Fuentes and be like, yeah, that guy looks like someone that wants to save my country. But again, we live in a place, our generation, that's broken. We've gone through a bunch of like honestly trauma. We have no purpose. We have n- we have no ambition. We have nothing to strive for. And our history, again, this is another thing that I haven't mentioned yet. Our history is being destroyed. Our history is being demonized. Our ancestors were being told we're all terrible racist people. And that's just incorrect. Our ancestors built this world, and we're not told that. Instead, we're made to hate our ancestry. We feel no connection to our family, and we feel no hope for the future. And that's where we're at right now. And that's the basic reason why our generation gets so addicted to so much so easily. Why we prefer to live in a virtual world than our own world. Why we just don't want to have to process this information. Because if you shut your brain off and don't think about it, the pain it goes away for a second. And I think that's something a lot of us strive to do. Just take the pain away for a second. But don't do that, right? We need That's something we want to avoid. If you spend all your time taking in, I don't know, this dopamine and taking these easy escapes and trying to numb yourself, one, it's only going to make you feel more empty. It's going to leave you with even more of a lack of a purpose, and it's going to put you in a position where it's going to leave you more hopeless, and it's going to make it so you can't make a change. And if you can't make a change, what's the point? What's the point? But I'm gonna wrap it up on that note. So again, look, subscribe if you want to see more of this. We're restarting. I really need your guys' support right now because it's tough. Completely restarting after, about a year and a half of work, I guess. About 11 months of consistent, like, hard work. I had before the shadow ban, we had about 7 months of daily uploads. That was crazy. But yeah, that was it's hard. It was hard to abandon it, and I really need your guys' support right now. So if you'd like, subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. The only way we can get this message out there is with your support. So again, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. And if you got anything out of this, go ahead, share the video. It really helps me out and it helps the movement out. But again, don't let the hopelessness get you too much. I know this has been a pretty doomer video because, I'm in a little bit of a doomer mood right now. But there is still hope. There's something to fight for. We can still save this place. And just remember, people like people like me, people like those that are actually, thinking and actually want to make a change, we exist. So don't lose complete hope because you'll find us. We'll find each other. And when we find each other, that's when we make something great. So yeah, I hope together we can do something. And if you want a community of people who you can talk to, express these ideas that think the same way as you, go to my Discord. The link is in the description. Go to my Twitter. Both places you can interact with me. You can interact with others are subscribed to the channel. So yeah, great places there. But on that note, I'm gonna head out. So long. Peace out, and God bless y'all.